Welcome back to Saturday Social with our guest Don, Robbie and James Allcott. All right, the January window, it is in full swing now. So what is the plan for this part?
So this one is nice and simple. We've gathered some of the biggest transfers from this week. Robbie and James will be telling us whether they think the transfers will be a hit or a miss. So let's talk about the most talked about transfer of this week so far, and that is Rashford to AC Milan.
Now, these are all rumours at this stage. Just make that clear that none of these have actually happened yet, but could happen. And Rashford feels like one that is potentially going to happen, whether it's to AC Milan or to a Barcelona or to a Juventus.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it feels like he's absolutely going to go somewhere. I think there's so much swirling about with this. Obviously, Man United want him to go. The wages are very, very high. So who can deal with that? When it comes to AC Milan, you've got Pulisic, who plays out there, and far more importantly, in my opinion, Rafael, who is a very, very exciting player that I'm sure a lot of teams would want. I think in terms of like an exciting, big club, I can imagine Rashford kind of wanting to go to one of those superstar clubs. And so AC Milan fits from that point of view. From a profile point of view, having players like Rafael and playing that style of play, that works. It's a funny time for Marcus Rashford, isn't it? I wonder if, can AC Milan actually afford the wages here? Or I also feel like Juve is quite a nice option for him. They don't have as many options out there.
Scoring many goals, Juve, either, are they?
Yeah, and you've got someone like Yildiz out there who's very different to Marcus Rashford. He would offer something different from that point of view. So I don't hate Juventus as an option. And then coming back to the wages, last one, West Ham being linked with him a little bit. And the thing, yes, people might kind of turn their nose up at that. But when it comes to being able to pay for those wages, from Man United's point of view, Premier League clubs probably got more money than most.
Robbie's there's been tentative links to Arsenal as well, haven't there? There have been like little subtle things that people have been talked about. Would you have Rashford at Arsenal?
I think I'd have him till the end of the season at the moment, yeah, because of, the injuries we've got and, the problems we've got in those wide areas. I'd have him, but I think like a move to AC Milan would be good for Rashford. I agree. A club like that. I think Rashford has got a big point to prove wherever he goes. But I think in particular, if he goes abroad, different environment, he ain't got all the noise around him, he can just focus on his football, because he looks to me like a guy that over the past couple of seasons, the focus has been gone a bit. If he can go somewhere where he can just say, right, let me just get back to my best. Let me show everybody in England how good I am. Let me get my England place back. That's another thing. I think a move to AC Milan for Rashford would be a great move for him. And I think he'd do well there as well.
There's been a few rumours as well to Barcelona, Dortmund as well.
Any of those, to me, anywhere abroad, like high-profile club like that, Rashford goes, I think he could do well.
So hit or miss, what are you saying?
I think he's open for the sort of Sancho glow-up, as are Man United, aren't they? I struggle with the Rafael thing. Like, why would you not play Rafael?
Specifically about Milan. Milan is on the magnet, so...
Top. Hit for me.
I'd let Robbie have this one. I don't know if I'm honest. The important thing is he has to play.
Yeah.
To thrive.
But I don't think he's going to go anywhere he's not going to play. So surely he's going to have some guarantees and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Maybe he plays a striker. Because, he could play. But I think anywhere he goes abroad, a big club like that is going to be a hit.
Let's go to the next one. This was probably the most shocking piece of transfer news.
Didn't expect this to come out.
Unbelievable transfer rumour that hit the net this week. Kobbie Mainoo potentially being allowed to leave Manchester United for the right price. Chelsea being linked with him. What do we make of this, Jimbo?
I think it's a sign of the times. I think it's one where they're talking about it's the contract and Man United want to make it very clear that the word that everyone's using, no one's untouchable.
Yeah.
But Kobbie Mainoo's people will be going, oh, hang on a minute, this guy's on this guy's on that. Let's make sure he gets his money too. He's still contracted to 2028, I want to say. Yeah. They take the extension. So from that point of view, I don't think there's a huge amount in it. What I would say is that, as I say, it is a sign of the times in terms of certain players that you can get a decent amount of money for. And Man United are currently looking at their squad and going, what assets do we have? Like the other team involved here, Chelsea, for anything you want to throw at them, they have loads of 20-odd-year-old players who would go for a decent amount of money if you need to get that money back in. So that's the problem that Man United have. In terms of him at Chelsea, you've got Enzo, you've got Lavia, you've got Caicedo. I don't think they need him at all, especially for what it would cost.
Where
so
would
for me,
you put him?
It's a miss for me.
Really?
Well, hold on.
I don't know about that.
If anywhere he goes, he's going to be a hit.
I agree.
Because he's
Possibly.
a quality player. if Manchester United let Mainoo go,
They'll be up for from
that would be crazy.
But could we put him into miss then from a Manchester United perspective? You know, from a Manchester United perspective, this would be a huge miss to allow a player.
For Chelsea.
But no one is really, except from Palmer and Caicedo.
But
I'd start him above Enzo.
Enzo's having a fantastic season.
Yeah, but Mainoo, I think Mainoo's a better player. And I think Mainoo, his ceiling is so high. This guy's... I remember watching him in the Euros. He's quality. How are Man United even... How's this even a discussion?
Yeah,
he has to... If you're not...
There's no way it happens. Unless but I just don't think...
I don't want to talk anymore about Kobbie Mainoo leaving Manchester United.
I saw some tears in his eyes.
We have to keep him. We have to keep him.
Judge, you need a drink, man.
Let's move on to the next one. Kvaratskhelia to Liverpool. He's been linked with PSG as well. Do you think he even starts for Liverpool right now?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, he's amazing. Yeah. I think... imagine Salah on the right and him on the left.
Diaz and Gakpo are doing well, though.
Sure. But like this, and I think he's 23.
Yeah.
He's still so young. You know, he is the guy for Napoli. I think Liverpool fans should enjoy this.
Where would you put him then? Kvaratskhelia.
Oh, an incredible hit.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Incredible hit.
Really good.
Quality.
Especially with Salah on the other side and how they want to play. Frightening.
I'd have him at Arsenal as well. He'd be a perfect fit for Liverpool.
OK, next up, Trent.
Very interesting.
It's gone, mate. Gone.
I think, I think the fact that he hasn't signed a contract by now is, again, we're talking about sign of the times. I think these players of this quality, in modern football, will be running down their contracts.
He wants a new challenge, isn't it? He wants a new challenge.
I think
He's been at Liverpool all his career. He's won everything for them. Liverpool got him for free. Right, so they can't moan if he goes for free, and it's Liverpool's fault for not tying him down in my books, right? They should have... He's quality. And I think, especially at Real Madrid, where he wouldn't have to do as much defending, I know people... he's not a bad defender, you know what I mean, but it's quality on the ball, passing range.
Yeah, he's a Galactico as well.
Yeah,
all the right backs in the world.
Perfect fit for Real Madrid.
Is it?
I think it is a hit. What I will say is that if he had one of those games where he kind of gets exposed like he has done at times during his career, he won't have the same kind of support that he's got from Liverpool fans as he will at Real Madrid.
I think
he's been good defensively this season. The last few games maybe a bit shaky, but the whole season I feel like it's not been talked about.
Yeah, like one bad game, everyone was jumping on him like defensively. Guy's a good player, man.
He'd get a lot of help from Valverde and some of the other players.
Exactly. Okay, the next one we've got Marmoush to Manchester City. Now, this one is a move that is moving in the background. Do you think that this is a move for him to start right away?
I think so this season. I do think it needs to work because it's going to cost a lot, but he is a bit freakish. Like, he's quite scary, I think, and very much what kind of Man City need. I also think, and I'm always suspicious of Pep, but I think he's up to something with this as well. Because
20 goal involvements already this season. We're at Christmas.
And I think I like the way that he sort of peels off. It would be a very different dynamic with Haaland, and you might see a different kind of style to Haaland. Maybe they're looking to play in transition that little bit more. I also think it might lead to them playing bit more of a settled double pivot, which has been the problem defensively. Really cracking player. Yeah, he drops off, gets on the ball, but also goes and scores goals too.
Record hit, yeah?
Yeah, I think, massive hit, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I think the hit. He's a quality player. It's just if he can transfer what he's doing in the Bundesliga over to, City. I mean, we see when that Kolo Muani was like
Muani,
Frankfurt,
Jovic,
killing it
as well.
Yeah,
there's a bit of a curse.
And then they've gone to other clubs and it ain't really happened. So,
but yeah, I do like him.
Next up,
Joshua Zirkzee, poor bloke.
For me, obviously, as a Manchester United fan, I really don't want to see Zirkzee leave the club in January. I think it would be a sad state of affairs to give a player 4 months, no adaptation period at all, effectively, to a league that is very different, a playing style that's very different, a manager change that's happened 6 weeks ago. Let's give the lad a chance, he's 23 years old.
It's been split from the United fans. I feel like fans want to get behind him, but on the other side, United need goals, and he was obviously signed for that.
Yeah, he's been living in a storm.
Was he signed for goals? Well, let's be honest, he didn't score a massive volume of goals at Bologna. I think that there is an argument to be made. He actually suits one of the 10 roles better under Ruben Amorim, and I think Amorim has said himself that he doesn't see Zirkzee as a 9. So United have a bit of a depth issue there.
Yeah.
Mason Mount's out injured. I just don't think United can afford to lose that.
Part of the problem in him signing him, innit, is that, like, is he what they needed at the time? You know what I mean? Is he the type of player that suited what they were trying to do? And if he does move to Juventus, I think that'd be a good move for him. You know, he's doing really well in Italy. He knows the terrain. I think he could be a hit there. But I was sure at United, if they're going to be able to fit him in.
It's a lot of
where does he play?
A lot of players can't deal with that pressure of a club like.
Let's give him a chance, though, man. Let's please give him a chance.
I think he was bought for different reasons as to what's needed now. The best game I've seen him was the Everton game, and he had kind of Rashford alongside him, and they both kind of played sometimes 10 and sometimes running and beyond, or more so Rashford. Rashford's not going to be there for very long. I think he'd do well at Juventus. I think it'd be a hit.
OK, linking back up with his old gaffer as well, which will help him, of course. Thiago Motta in charge there now.
Next one, we've got a Cobham graduate potentially going back to his old club, Marc Guéhi to Chelsea. What are we saying for that move? Do you think that it makes sense for him to move this window?
I think for Crystal Palace it does. I think if you're Crystal Palace, you're going to get... Could you get 50 million this January? In the summer, it's going to go down to 30. The January after that, it's going to get down to 10, and you're just not going to do it because he won't want to go because he can make more money for himself in
That's because he's out of contract, of course.
Because he's out of contract, sorry. So I think for both parties, it's not the worst idea. Josh Achimpang is a really exciting player for them. And so it's one where do you want to kind of... He's the next Marc Guéhi, so do you want to stunt his growth this year? But also it's a very competitive league when it comes to the Champions League places as well. So I think if you go and get him... Also, you sold him for 20 million, so if you buy him for 50, it actually only cost you 30 million. Proven,
risk,
young...
Not
risk at all. I think he's a
risk.
The risk is for the player, right? Because when you go to Chelsea, there's no guarantee that you're going to be playing week in, week out. There's no guarantee that you're there for 2 minutes and they go and buy another player in your same position.
Surely.
Right, he could hold on and say to himself, all right, I'll go Newcastle in the summer, right, and I'm going to be guaranteed that I start or something like that. That's the risk, I think, as a player. Guéhi's quality, but that Chelsea are always changing so many players. You don't know if
I think this move has mainly happened because of the Fofana injury, and obviously the other players have got chances. You said Josh.
Like there's Badiashile, there's Tosin, there's Tosin.
Exactly.
But come the summer, Chelsea the sort of club that say, yeah, you know what, we need to go buy some defenders, go and buy some really expensive defender, and all of a sudden Guéhi's not starting. I think that's the risk as a player. I'm not saying it's a risk for Chelsea right now, because if he comes in at Chelsea, he'd do well. But for him as a player, do I go there? Do I start? Does my career grow, or do I go to Newcastle, start every week, become a regular for England? You know what I mean?
Let's make a decision.
I know you're a Chelsea fan, but all those things you've got to take into consideration.
I hear that, but he knows the environment. So I think if he comes into the club, he knows what he's...
That's why I'd be worried. He knows it.
Let's move on. Here we got next, Jimbo.
Evan Ferguson to West Ham.
Link up with his old manager.
Yes, I love this. I think, look, everyone should be kind of like having a look at Evan Ferguson right now. He needs games, he needs opportunity. Brighton's strikers have been doing really, really well, and so he's not getting those opportunities. West Ham need a striker. Antonio being out is obviously an area that needs kind of replacing. I think this is great for all parties. It would work well with Potter. I think he'd have a good time there.
I think this one will happen as well. And you know, Brighton absolutely love him, but they just want him to play. They want him playing games, right? So, you know, if he goes to West Ham, he's going to play, because obviously we know what happened, unfortunately, with Mikel Antonio. Bowen's out.
Did his hamstring last night.
Yeah, Bowen's out as well, right? So Ferguson, he'll go there, he'll play, you know. And remember, about a season ago, he's been valued at like 80, 90 million. Now, he's probably valued at about 30 million because he's not playing. Go to West Ham, play, show everybody how good you are, then Brighton can bring him back. The valuation goes through the roof. If they want to sell him, if they want to keep him, they know he's proven himself. I think this is like perfect. Guaranteed. And under Potter as well.
Let's get him up then.
Yeah.
Let's get him up. I think as well, another club that could be good. I'm going to suggest Bournemouth as well as a potential destination for Evan Ferguson.
Yeah, because Evan Nilsson.
Strikers going out injured. Yeah. The next one, I don't think we should spend too much time on, because obviously we've spoken about him already.
Rob, bring him
this
in.
Will be a hit.
Attacking players, bring.
High wages. That's
okay, what's the next one?
I'm a fan. I don't care about the wages.
Villa.
Donny Malen. We're being very positive here, aren't we?
Very positive.
I actually think... I think this is a hit as well, because I think Aston Villa lack a lot of pace in their team, especially in those kind of areas. Diaby went in the summer, and I don't think Leon Bailey's got enough competition on that right-hand side. And when you're playing in Europe and in the Premier League, obviously, and looking to do well in the Premier League, I think you need some options. Sometimes his finishing disappoints me, but I like his profile. He's a Champions League player.
Would he play in their best team? Is he starting their best team? I was looking at this the other day and I was thinking to myself, you know, you've got Bailey who can play on that right, but also McGinn gets a lot of minutes out there.
I don't overly
Morgan
like
Rogers
McGinn over there.
Jacob Ramsey.
Rogers in a more of a central position. Do you know, I think actually...
Very quick player.
Very quick player. I think Watkins gets a lot more assists with Malen. I think he drifts in a little bit, but still runs beyond. So it's almost like two strikers. I think
Malen would be hungry to play in the Premier League as well. He's come through Arsenal as a young player. He's hit
or miss.
I think
he's an experienced player now as well.
About 30 mil.
You know,
30. Yeah, I think like you say.
Let's get him up then. Let's get him up. A lot of positivity in the Saturday Social Studio.
I know, right?
Will it continue?
Next one, Casemiro to Saudi. Is this a move that we reckon is going to happen sooner rather than later?
I think they need, you know, when a focus on, get Rashford out the door and there's a lot of noise around there, get him off the wage bill. That's, I think, the big thing with
But do you not have to then replace him? Because we can talk about Casemiro leaving. He's still played a fairly significant amount of game time.
He's not played great, though, is he? And I think
he's played in 14 games, though, this season. So even if he's not been playing great, you've got to replace those minutes.
Yeah, but I think sometimes, even if a player's good, they've got to be good in a system that works for them. And Casemiro is just absolutely not that for me, really, anymore.
Oh,
It's an ageing player, isn't it?
It's the wages.
Get him off.
He was quality, but he was an ageing player. To me, for United... You move on Casemiro, use that money to keep Mainoo.
All right, let's go. Let's stick it up. Look at this.
No misses. Fair enough.
And he do well in the Saudi league with, you know, he's quality there. He's not, where it's not going to be so much
big
based
name,
on
superstar as well.
Pace and all. Yeah.
I think Al Nassr are the club most.
He's looking at the
I'm
list.
trying to see if we're going to have a single miss it.
What we say for the next one? Kolo Muani to Spurs.
So, OK, the one thing I'll say here is, yes, he can play on the right, and I guess he could play on the left as well, but as a central striker, it's kind of him... It's him or Solanke. Similar in some ways. I think more of a dribbler at Muani. Obviously, it's not really gone to plan at PSG. I guess it's about the opportunity for Tottenham. And so would they normally be able to get someone like Muani, say, after he'd had that amazing season at Frankfurt?
Does he get them goals?
The thing, a lot of his goals are sort of headed goals. And with Tottenham, are you going to get that kind of service? That's my...
Is that a miss?
Listen, everyone's going to say...
We're trying to sneak a miss.
People are going to say I'm hating on Tottenham. It's a miss. They don't need another
they score
player.
a lot.
They're actually good in attack. They need defenders, right? They can't defend. To me, I look at it as a miss. That's a player, to me, that they don't really need right now. They've got goals. Solanke scoring. Brennan Johnson's done all right. Up front, you know what I mean? Son, all right, it's not been his greatest season. But up front...
Kulusevski.
That's their strength. Kulusevski. I don't think they need Kolo Muani.
But if you want to get up there and start winning things...
OK, we'll go with Rob's decision. Yeah. I think we've got just about time to do one last one if we're quick.
OK. Well, I've got two here. You never...
I think you can do them both.
I'll tell you them together because...
Garnacho, let's go.
What I've read, you've got Garnacho here and you've got Nuno Mendes. With the Nuno Mendes, when I saw you guys sort of send me the list of the transfer routes, I was like, really? How? I mean, he'd be amazing, but how on earth are you going to get him? But what I've seen is there's an opportunity maybe that PSG might want Garnacho. So I know you've got Atletico Madrid here, but that could be a swap deal for him to go to...
Garnacho at Atletico Madrid looks like a fit for me.
Well, he used to play for Atletico Madrid. The Atletico Madrid youth system before Manchester United bought it.
I think he'll be a hit.
I think they'll both be hits.
Yeah, you both going hits for these two players?
I'm not sure. I would put Garnacho as a miss. I'm not sure.
Why?
And then I would put Mendes as a hit if you can get him. I can't see it happening.
I do like Garnacho.
All right, go on.
I mean, listen, Mendes was definitely...
It's too late now. That makes it
Yeah, no, it's good.
In the studio. So there we go.
A bit of shopping.
Loads of transfer rumours, some hits, not very misses, lots of positivity in the room. It is